Hello, I am Putri and today I will be talking about an update about my mini cookie business that I created in 2020. And it's been quite a journey since last year. I wouldn't say quite a journey because nothing really happened. But long story short, the business did not go well. Why? Because it's my fault. It was my fault. It was totally my fault. And I think that a cookie business is actually a really good business. Lots of people love cookies. Everyone loves cookies. So it was a great business idea to start with, but there were things that I could have done better and things that I quite did, I would say, wrong. I can clearly say wrong. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the things I did wrong, the things I could have done better, and if I were to rebrand and restart this mini cookie business, what I would do. Disclaimer, I am not studying business. I have never studied business. I have no experience in business, so I am totally empty on the business side. And what I'm about to say is solely based on my personal experience, so it can be very wrong in so many ways. And please, for business students and business enthusiasts out there, please correct me because I know that I could be talking here. This is truly based on personal experience and things that I would like to suggest you if you were going to start your own cookie business. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is about the baking process, which is probably the most important part of the whole cookie business because you want to make sure that you have a good quality cookie before you start selling it. Now, from the baking process, the first thing that is most important in my experience and in my opinion is the chocolate chips. Now, this was something that was quite hard for me because I did not have experience in baking, so I had to read a lot about chocolate chips and chocolate. So what I found out is that there are two types of chocolate that's often used in baking, which is couverture and compound. Now, couverture is more of a pure chocolate, so it's more high quality. It tastes better, it's richer, and it's top tier. While compound is less expensive, it's way more affordable, but it has lower quality. And even in some countries, it's said that it's illegal to call it chocolate because it's not really chocolate, it's compound. So the ingredients of couverture and also compound are quite different. And of course, we have the high quality couverture but high price, and we have the lower quality chocolate but with a lower price. So those were the two options that I had in the beginning. And of course, I went with the couverture because all of the articles said that couverture is way better for baking chocolate chip cookies. So that's what I went with. Now, there are so many types of chocolates that you can find on the internet and in the market. So that was another hard thing for me to decide. And initially, actually, when I tried to start this cookie business, it was so hard to find like these big chocolate chips, like coin chocolates. It was really hard to find those. I tried finding them online. I tried to go to baking stores and none of them had them. And that was my initial thought on the chocolate chips I wanted to use. So I couldn't use those and I moved towards chocolate batons, whatever you call it. So I went with that. It's the chocolate usually used in pastry. I went with that. I had to manually make them into chocolate chip sizes. So I went with that. I baked the cookies, and what I realized was that they did not melt. That was weird because from what I read was that chocolate couverture melts really well, and that didn't melt. It actually held its shape so well, beautifully, that I was quite confused because I bought 2.5 kilos of those chocolate chips, so I had to use them anyways. So I sold the cookies initially with those chocolate chips, but I was not quite happy with them, and I changed to finally finding the chocolate couverture chips. And what I realized was that they were very, very expensive, which made me have to raise the price of the cookies that I sold. I baked with those and they tasted really good. The chocolate was melty, it was ooey gooey, or it was everything you wanted in a chocolate chip cookie. However, it costed a lot. It was expensive, and because of that, I felt quite hesitant in continuing using those chocolates because it was quite expensive for me to buy and also for the customers to buy, even though they're getting a higher quality chocolate. After that, I tried using compound chocolate chips, which are coin shaped, but they are compound chocolate. And surprisingly, they actually tasted really good. They didn't melt as well, but they still melted when they were hot, when they were warm. So I suggested people who bought my cookies to warm up their cookies before eating them. It melted quite well and it tasted really good. So now I am using compound chocolate chips. And I plan to go back to using couverture chocolate, but we'll see. So before you start your cookie business, please think about what kind of chocolate you want to use and the price you are planning to put on your cookies based on the chocolate and the other ingredients you're going to use. Second, for baking is the butter. Now, the butter is also important because it's basically the main ingredient other than chocolate for the chocolate chip cookie. Now, you want to make sure that you use high quality butter, good butter, and not just butter. You want high quality butter, good butter. And what's again important is for my chocolate chip cookie recipe, I had to melt the butter. Now, something that was really wrong for me, after melting the butter, I directly used it to make the chocolate chip cookie batter while the butter was hot. Now that was wrong. Do not do that because it messes up with the other ingredients and it doesn't make your chocolate chip cookie beautiful and well. It makes it greasy. So make sure that when you melt your butter, you leave it to room temperature, then use it afterwards. Number 3 is salt. Now this is something that I did really wrong because first of all, I read the recipe wrong when I was making it for my family and they were like, it's good, but there's something missing. And I was like, what's missing? I used the recipe. And it turned out that I didn't use enough salt. Now, using salt for a chocolate chip cookie is so important. It brings out the flavor, it makes it nice and So don't forget to use salt and follow the recipe you're working with, or if there's something missing from your cookie, like it only tastes sweet, try adding salt to the recipe and it will taste way better. Last for baking is the baking time and the baking temperature. Now this is something that kind of messed up my cookies a lot because I realized that the cooking time and the constant stable cooking temperature is really, really important. I baked cookies where my oven suddenly shut down in the process. So instead of rising up beautifully, they became flat and very thin. It was because the temperature went extremely down and I had to wait for the oven to turn back on to rise the temperature, and because of that I had to bake longer because the temperature was lower, and that just messed up the cookies. So make sure that you have constant temperature for your oven when you're baking your cookies. And if you put the temperature too high, that would also mess up your cookies, because they're gonna rise, but they're not gonna go back down. So they're gonna be like kind of thick and small. So watch out for your baking time, and also most importantly the baking temperature.